This is gonna hurt. It's time for the Suffering Podcast.
There are three sides to every story: yours, theirs, and the truth. The truth usually lies somewhere in between and is never as clear-cut as it may be portrayed. Unless you were there, the reality may be different than the narrative in front of your eyes. Approach each situation with an air of caution. Reserve your judgment until you know the totality of the circumstances. That education may solidify your opinion or change your mind completely. The presentation of the truth can be an optical illusion. It may be as concrete as the air we breathe or the love in our hearts. Information may just free you from the chains of doubt. I'm Kevin Donaldson here with Mike Falaise, and welcome to the Suffering Podcast. If you're a fan of overcoming adversity and overcoming suffering, then we're for you, because that's what we do here, and that's the stories that we highlight. So do me a favor, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, please comment, ring the bell so you can get notified of all of our new content, and now you can join. Follow us on all social media so you can find out what we're up to. On this episode of the Suffering Podcast, we welcome in Dom Lillo to discuss the suffering of excessive force. It's going to be a little tough one.
It's going to be a rough one,
yeah,
but I think we can get through it.
Yeah, but thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Before we get into anything, let's throw a big shout out to our marquee sponsor. That's Toyota of Hackensack. We don't trust anybody as police, but we do trust them. So if you're looking for a car, go to toyotahackensack.com. They know what they're doing. Dom, each week we take a question from our audience. This week's question comes from Philip. Did you write this one?
No, I didn't.
Philip.ma.butthole. Philip my butthole.
That is like
Jesus Christ.
That is like right up your alley.
Oh my gosh.
Who wrote that, Nick?
I don't know. But it's Philip.
Is he related to Beavis?
I'll tell you what, I didn't even read it. I just wrote it.
Right.
What gets you the angriest? Dom, you're our guest tonight. I'm going to pass this one off to you. What do you think? What gets you the angriest?
I mean, from something, stupidity.
Stupidity. It's not bad.
Stupidity really does.
Mike, what do you think?
You know what? Aside from traffic in this area,
In your Jeep?
my Jeep, that too, my Jeep. The thing that gets me angry is fake people. And I don't like when I am what you see, whether you like it or not. I'm not going to change for anybody. I hate people who try to be fake. It just that bothers the hell out of me. That gets me nasty angry.
You know, that's a hard thing to perpetuate when somebody is phony, because their true self always bleeds through in one way or another.
Yeah, but it takes a long time to figure out that they're fake. So you know what I'm saying? You meet someone, you become like kind of new friends, and you think that's the person that you're being a friend with. And then about a month down the road,
True colors come out.
you realize their true colors.
It's like a relationship after 3 months.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Or marriage after 25 years. But go ahead, Kev.
So I have to say, because it's something that it carries on to every aspect of my life, and that's laziness. So ignorance gets me aggravated, but I can educate ignorance. Laziness is like a virus. Laziness is like a disease, and it can infect everybody around you. You got one, just take football, for instance. You got one lazy kid on the field, and he is a popular kid. Well, guess what? He is going to infect everybody else with the laziness. So, from my opinion, when you see something that's somebody that's lazy, you better cut it off really quick, because it's like a cancer, and it just keeps growing and growing. And before you know it, it's out of control.
It infects everybody else.
You're right.
Yeah.
So that's, there's a lot of stuff that pisses me off, though.
Oh, the list goes on and on, of course. Same with me.
Well, you know what pisses me off? Philip my butthole. I mean, that kind of pissed me off.
That is one of the greatest,
Yeah, I know.
greatest handles ever.
I just wrote it. I didn't really say it. Yeah.
I swear to God, I was pulling them, and I just wrote, okay.
Yeah, you were pulling it, and you read Philip my butthole.
The dots screwed me up, but thank you very much, Philip, for sending that one in. Keep sending in your questions. We will try to get them.
Could you
on the
imagine
air.
going through life with the last name of my butthole?
I doubt that's his real name, but I got to tell you what, that's a $5 handle right there. Oh God. The anal.
You could have just told me in my headphones.
the anal retentive producer.
So now we'll start again. And if you notice, my cord is now fixed in the right direction.
So, Philip, thank you very much for sending in your question. Keep sending in your questions, and we will try to get them on the air. So, Dom, this is going to be a really tough one for us. We always hate it when a brother in blue falls. Yes. Some people cheer it.
Yeah.
Some people walk away from it.
There's a certain sector of society that wait for you. What we used to call stepping on your dick.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Certain sector of people in society wait for you. Wait for a cop to step on their dick. And
Obvious.
But the one thing about Mike and I is we will give everybody the opportunity to say their truth, to say their perspective of it, because unless we weren't there during your bad times, we don't know what happened. Right. We know what we read, but other than that, you know, it's just it's somebody else's opinion of what went through. So before we get into that, though, why don't you tell our audience a little bit about yourself?
Well, right now I'm 53 years old, still living in Bayonne, New Jersey.
Again, I'm the oldest guy in the studio.
With Tom Schmittler?
Schmitley.
Yes.
Yes.
I know him,
You
yeah.
know Schmitty?
Yes, I do.
So,
He just retired, I believe.
Wow, retired's a strong word. Tom is a good.
We can't say that. We can't say that other bad R word.
We've actually had his track message up on the air when we had Tom in here. Yeah, Tom Schmitty's but Schmitty's on the road to recovery. So
Yes,
he's picking his life back up.
Great
The whole
guy.
family, unfortunately.
Schmitty's a great guy.
Known him for years. Went to school
Love
with
him
him.
to death.
His great, when we had him in here, his greatest line ever. I was like, "Hey, Schmitty, I love you, man. I want you to." He goes, "What are you, fag?" That's what he says. He actually said that word, and I go. In the back of my head, I'm like, oh, man. Oh.
Demonetized.
Yeah, sure. So you live in Bayonne, New Jersey with the Chuck Wepner.
Yes.
Not-
leader.
Vito Enterfermo. I was in Bayonne the other day. We went to San Vito
Okay.
over on the Boulevard.
Reached out.
Love San Vito.
Yeah.
So how'd you grew up there your whole life?
So grew up there. I actually came from Jersey City, moved to Bayonne. I think I was 12 years old. My parents went to high school, grammar school, all of that. I was in the 20s. A lot of my friends were becoming cops or corrections officers. At the time I was a car salesman. Like, take the test.
Car salesman.
Salesman.
Is that the entranceway into law enforcement?
Mine was car salesman was a segue job for me.
So I took the test.
Yeah.
Became a Hudson County Corrections Officer.
Because at the time, they sell a good product. Hey, you get your benefits paid
Absolutely.
for. You got a pension.
Can't go wrong.
You're not going to get rich, but you're going to make an okay living.
Absolutely.
Right, yeah.
Now, mind you, I started back in 97.
Oh, yeah.
So things were a lot different. As
Your top salaries were probably hovering in the neighborhood of $55,000.
I was in the academy for Hudson County Sheriffs in Essex.
That's where I went through.
I was making $20,000 plus.
Huh. Jeez, don't spend that all in one place.
No.
That $1,000 check
And I'll
every
tell
2
you,
weeks.
And you say what pisses you off? We were getting pepper sprayed. I'll never forget the instructor. God rest his soul, he took his life not too long ago also. He started saying something about Hudson County hoodlum. I got pepper sprayed. I think I just didn't even feel it. We just went at it.
Yeah,
you get that adrenaline dump, yeah.
I started in 96 making $24,000 a year.
Got it. I guess it wasn't too bad. I thought it was. So again, I wasn't a car sale. I left being a car salesman. I went to another job, and I went from a salary of $80,000 down to $33 in 2001. But I looked at the long game. Okay, that's what all police officers do. Yes, we take this job for really crap starting pay, but we're playing the long game.
Yes.
Well, like you said, we don't get into this job to be rich.
No.
We get into it because of the love of it.
You do it for not only that, but literally to give something back.
Yep, exactly.
Like I grew up, I wanted to give back. Like a lot of guys were moving out of town. I stayed there. I had no problem running into the people I locked up. People I had problems with, or domestic problems. I had no problem. Like, hey, you okay? What's going on?
It kind of connects you to the fabric of the society.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You become a pillar of society.
Right. Yeah. Right.
And that's what I always, like I said, I started off at the Sheriff's Department in 96, and I didn't have a home base. And it's just one day you're up in Mawa, one day you're in Franklin Lakes, one day you're in Cliffside. I wanted a place to call home.
Yeah.
And
Correct.
I transferred down to Lyndhurst, and I had a home base, and it was the best move I ever made.
But going back, like you said, so I started in corrections, making $19,000.
Yeah.
I got a raise when I went to the sheriff's. And literally a year to date, the following year, got picked up by Bayonne, jumped to $40,000.
Isn't that crazy the way that works, the lateral movement? 'Cause,
Exactly.
So here's the strange thing about police work. You'll have a lot of cops make their lateral movements inside the world. Very seldomly is it for an advancement in pay. When you're brand new, it's easier.
Sure.
You're brand new. But I know guys with 6-7 years on, they transfer to another department and they take a huge pay cut.
Yeah, I'm sure there's got to be reasons behind it why.
Well, so there was I was going to make a transfer to East Hanover.
Okay.
Okay, and if I was playing the long game, it was a good move, but I couldn't do it at the time because I was taking a $20,000 a year pay cut in order to do it because they started everybody at step one, and I was going through some financial difficulties at the time, and I couldn't do it. But when you're young and you're untethered,
Right.
it's very easy.
I was a year away from getting a top pay with the sheriff's department, and I transferred to Lyndhurst.
Yeah,
and they dropped me down like step 3. Mm-hmm. Married, kid,
Right.
You had to bust your ass to make ends meet.
That's funny you said about the lateral because we had guys from Jersey City come to Bayonne.
yeah. That's a good move, by the way.
It's a very good move, yes. Yeah.
That's probably the most corrupt city, and it's always been the most corrupt city in.
The crime is just not corrupt, just the crime itself.
So I was watching Boardwalk Empire, and Nucky Johnson or Thompson, whatever whatever they called him in the show. But it's Thompson. His real name? No, it's not Bumpy. He was the black section. That's Nucky Thompson. So his real name was Enoch Johnson. He's buried in Summers Point, New Jersey. I know exactly where he's buried. I know where his tombstone is. So he would host the Jersey City mayor coming down, and even in the show, it's paying him. Like Jersey City ran everything, so it's always been that way in there.
Listen, Bayonne wasn't that far behind.
Hudson County politics.
The armpit of New Jersey.
Yeah, it's crazy. But so you went to Essex County Police Academy, which means you qualified in Caldwell in the outdoor range. You were doing lean and rest in the parking lot. Now that they put an indoor range back there, there's not as much room for lean and rest.
I don't know what they have there now.
Yeah, there's an outdoor range that they put in there. I want to say, God, it's 15 years ago, probably.
Wow.
But that old outdoor range, you qualified in rain, sleet, or snow.
That's right. Yep.
And always catching the dead lead in the berm.
Kicking you back.
You kicking you back.
Yeah, back from the sand.
Yeah.
You're up at the 5-yard line or the 1-yard line doing weapons retention. Like, I'm hit, I'm down.
Well, it's funny, too, because all you hear is like...
Yeah.
So you got through Essex, and so where did you start? Did you start in corrections?
Started in corrections.
You were in corrections. You didn't transfer while you were in the academy.
No. Yeah. Did corrections. Went to Bergen County for corrections. Left, went to Hudson County Sheriff's, went to Essex County Sheriff's, the Academy for Sheriffs there. That's when the same state test, I had to say high score, picked me up and went to Bayonne.
So did you work any time in Hudson County Sheriff?
For literally 1 year.
So at least you didn't have to go through an academy again.
Thankfully, no. They picked everything up. Yeah, it was great.
I know guys who've gone 3-4 academies. You're out of your
God bless
mind,
them.
man.
Yeah.
It just doesn't sound like fun to me.
It's a lot.
Yeah. So
And as you get older, it's who wants to do that again?
So
I turned 30 in the academy. I was one of the old school guys in there.
I was lucky. I was 26 when I was in the academy, and I was one of the older guys, which was crazy to me. I'm 26 years old. I don't understand this. And they make the older guys the squad leaders because they think that we have some sort of authority.
Yeah.
Little they know that I used to go in the stalls and this is.
Here we go.
Yeah, so in the stalls,
Statute of limitations is over. You're good.
they were giving us. At first, I walked in. They were giving us our piss test, and they stand right behind you when you go up to the urinals. And I remember it was a guy named Pete. I won't say Pete's last name. He was Essex County Sheriff, and I go. And he's watching me pee. I'm like, so what do you think? Is it any good? How's it compare to the other guys? I went through a lot of Irvington guys. I know I didn't compare the way they did. But the next one was there was a handicapped stall in there, and it was just wide enough so you could put your arms like this.
Right.
And take like a 20-minute nap.
Okay.
With your pants at your ankles. There's a lot of fun in the academy. It's not.
There is. I have to tell you, my CO, great man, Sergeant Hogan from Irvington.
Oh, Kenny Hogan, yeah.
Kenny Hogan. He's the man. I love him. He's one of the reasons why I also bounced back from everything that took place.
He's got to get a new skull because it's been shot twice.
Yeah, exactly, yes. He just had his party not too long ago. Shot in the head.
Shot in the head party? Yeah.
But he said it the best. He goes, enjoy this because it's going to be the best 6 months of your career.
Oh, so it was.
You want to know something?
It was.
Absolutely correct.
My time in the academy, my 6 months in the academy, feels like it lasted longer than my 20-year career. It really did.
I'm sure you guys also had some crazy guys when we were in the academy. Oh, my God.
But we were scared to death because our drill instructor was a Montclair cop who was very serious. He was a Force Recon Marine, very, very serious. So,
That's what we had. We
But
had West Orange guy, and I think the director was Wilkes at the time.
Wilkes.
But the academy is some of your best experience in law enforcement.
Yes.
And then it's fun when you get out and you have to go back to the academy for a class or something.
Right.
And you see one of your recruits in there. Here's the best one. So I go in there, and it was a guy named Hakeem Sims. He was director of Orange for a while. But he was doing undercover narcotics, so he had long dreads. And I go, hey, Hawk, you see our guy over there? Yeah, he used to be a male dancer. And then I walked out, and that was it. I didn't say another word. 6 months later, I'm in the gym with a retired Hoboken cop whose son was in that same academy. He goes, yeah, the guy from Roseland. The drill keeps saying, well, you used to be a dancer. Get up on the table and start dancing. And that little ping of pride came in you going, yeah, I did this one right. I did this right. That was the best experience.
That's great.
So what were you doing when you got out of the academy? When you got into Bayonne, or did you just get assigned right to patrol?
Yeah, I got assigned to patrol. Yeah, I went to Midnights.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, you anything good?
It wasn't too bad. It was actually good. I was with the first few months. I think it was 6 months. You worked with a senior officer, great guy.
It's like the FTO program.
He was old school. He was from the old school regime.
Did you actually have an FTO in place? Because my department did not. Whenever they thought you were ready.
Yeah.
They had like the guys that had over 20 years, like 10, 15 years. Like they put you with seasoned men.
Which can be good and bad.
But most of them were dinosaurs who didn't want to do anything and sleep on midnight.
But Kevin, you hit the nail on the head. It could be good and bad.
Yeah. Correct.
I had an old school guy where we did things old school.
Me too.
Yep.
I was grateful for that. I wasn't grateful for it while I was doing it. As grateful, like 10 years down the road, I'm like, oh, this is
right.
Thank God. And the guy who was my mentor, I still keep in touch with. I'm still friends with, because I'll never forget him. And I'm going to throw big shout out to him. His name's Steve Sarjace.
Here we go. We said we're not going to bring up names.
I'm going to say Steve Sarjace because I'm so proud of that man. I love that man.
Well, in a positive way, of course, you can pick up a name.
He's a 22-year veteran at the time, and I'm a rookie coming out of the academy, and of course we want to go save the world. 22-year veteran. He's tired.
Right.
So I remember him looking at me, knowing that I'm new, and go, "Hey," he's like, "How you feel? Did you get some sleep today?" And I was like, "Yeah, I feel pretty good." You don't want to take this job to go bed down somewhere. So he goes, "If you feel good and you want to work, let's work."
Yeah.
He goes, "If you're tired and you want to go bed down, I'm up for that too."
It usually started off with, "Hey, kid."
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
But 30 years old coming out of the academy, and they call me kid.
But he also said something to me that I'll never, ever, ever forget. While I was fresh coming out of the academy, I was very experienced in book knowledge of the police world. He was very experienced with the street knowledge of the police. So in many ways, and this is why I don't like that term rookie, in many ways, people coming out of the police academy have more information inside their head than the guys with 20 years on. They just don't have the practical knowledge.
Nowadays, yes.
They don't have the practical knowledge.
Correct.
And that's where the two worlds can, and if they can find a way to work together, it increases the department.
I agree with you, Ken, but that's how policing now is heading towards. It's been like that for the past 10 plus years.
We have more. You have a lot more academics coming in.
It's a lot of academics. That street smart has actually gone away.
Because they require a college education now. So you're getting the book smart college people now.
Well, I also see it in the town I work in. I work with the police a lot. The salaries are so damn high. So you go to I go to a lot of engineering classes at Rutgers.
Okay.
Go to an engineering classes and you will see the kids look like a stiff wind's going to blow them over because their parents pushed them into engineering because they know engineering is going to pay well. But when we got on, when all of us got on, more so when you guys got on, you took this job for a love of a job like we were talking about earlier. Now the salaries are so high where parents are saying, "Hey, kid, why don't you exactly go to police work? You're going to make a lot of money." So I think that's the difference, the shift to me.
I agree.
And you're going to get good benefits, which isn't the case anymore.
Yeah.
Well, it's changed now. Hasn't that changed, I believe, now?
Yeah.
You have to do 30 years or something like that now?
That's crazy. And that's going to change, too, because then you're going to have 65-year-old men walking the beat.
Exactly. And do you want that serving your community?
No,
you can't.
You're going to be old and grizzled, and you're going to be pissed off at those that came before you because they got out in 25 if they did their full term. But, police work is a grind. It's not a business.
It's very scary now. And I feel, listen, what happened to me can happen to anybody at any time, in any situation. Did I go a little overboard? 100%. Do I regret it? 100%. We'll get into that later on. But it's scary. The way how the media has twisted it and made I'm sorry, I got to say us, because I still feel I am one. I know I'm not. I'm not supposed to say that. As what's the word I'm looking for? Like outside, like, oh, you're not one.
Yeah.
You know, which is fine. And then people got their opinion. That's fine. I know I wake up every day and I can put my head down comfortably, and I can take criticism. But
we dealt with that in here, not when we were still on audio, with Mike Dowd. So Mike Dowd, 30th cop in New York City's history. Mike and I, we were hesitant to bring him in, but again, just it's your shot to say what you believe, and but we do know Mike is still very involved in the police world, just not in the manner that he used to be, which was selling drugs.
Well, that's a different story.
He snuck into One Police Plaza. So
Yeah.
he's still involved.
I mean, if you're out there selling drugs, then that's...
Yeah, and there was a problem that one of the people he was selling drugs to and giving a little bit of information, the cop got shot by him. There's a lot more into it, but even Mike has a chance for redemption, because that's what I believe. Everybody has a shot to make themselves right.
Yep.
It's funny too, because people come to me and say, "Oh, my, you're in law enforcement. My son wants to be a cop. Do you have any advice for him? Become a fireman."
Yeah,
I would never squash someone's dreams of becoming a cop, because that was my lifelong dream. I would never squash that, but it's not the time to get in it anymore.
Once you got that job, was it everything that you expected?
Oh, I was on top of it. I loved it. Like I said, I was working with the great guy. He did narcotics. He did undercover. It was awesome. It was great. He was from the old regime, so I was actually being taught street policing the way it was. We would ride. We would do rips. We would do stops. We would frisk people. We'd make arrests on top of arrests. It was awesome. We had pursuits. Great job. It was just awesome. It was just a thrill. Like, oh, this is great. This is great. Oh, my God, this is great. And then I got moved to afternoons.
Yeah. See, I liked afternoons.
Midnights, it was all right. It was okay.
Midnights you're never normal.
I loved midnights. I loved it. You understand? We worked a 4-and-4 schedule.
Oh God, forget it.
You had a vacation every week.
The 10 1/4.
Exactly.
Oh, that's beautiful.
You can't go wrong with that.
No.
So I go to afternoons, and I think it was like my first 8-9 months on. And I'm with the guy I went for the academy with. We go to a DV call in the basement. It's dark, smaller than this. Oh, you and as we pull away, you see the holes through the door. What the fuck?
You can say whatever you want. Let it fly.
Like, what the fuck? So now we had those old radios, the big ones. Mm-hmm. The battery's dead. Nothing's going.
Like you're calling from a hot landing zone.
Yeah. There's no transmission going. We're trying to kick the door, and come to find there's a garage inside. A kid runs around out the other way, hides the. Come to find it was an air rifle. But still, we don't know. We're brand new. We have no idea. We're at corrections. It was easy.
It could break the skin and cause a very nasty infection.
Exactly. Yes. But when you're new, you don't know.
Isn't that the Clark Griswold line? This could break the skin and cause a very nasty infection.
So we get in there and we find out the gun's on top of the drop ceiling, this and that. We come to find out, lock the kid up. The father and son had an issue. He was a teenager, so it didn't go too far. But that was the first, kind of like a, whoa, what the hell?
Yeah, when you get the
welcome to law enforcement.
Exactly. You know how we dealt with that? We went to the bar and hung out and drank.
Yeah. When you get that first call, and it's a hairy call.
Yeah.
Like I can tell you, it was a guy. He was actually reaching for his cell phone, but we couldn't see him because he was in a car and it was in a garage, with that garage that he was not supposed to be in. And I remember getting out of that call, going, "Whoa, That was close.
Yeah, oh, sure.
But see,
yeah.
you don't think about. Everybody says like when you went to that situation, weren't you scared? You don't have time to be scared. You react. You react, and then you go back to your car and you sit there and you go, "Holy fuck! What just happened?" You don't have time to be scared.
100%. Now let's go a year after that. Back in the day, Bayonne had a couple of biker gangs, 1%ers. Mm-hmm. Down on the east side, there's a fight. This night, come to find out, it was Saint Soldiers shoots one of the guys. As we're pulling up there, the guy's on the ground, shot, dead. We go right into the house. Not even a care in the world. The whole 10 of us, they was just bum rushed the fucking place.
There's obviously a gun in there.
There's guns. Yeah. They got hidden and thrown away, but still, they could have killed everybody.
So your career moves on, and did you get a chance to do any type of special details there?
Throughout my career, yes.
Yeah.
I was in plain clothes. I worked for the motorcycle squad also throughout the years. It was nice. And I did ABC.
I always wanted to wear the boots.
I'll tell you, that's a great feeling.
And a crushed hat.
Oh, yeah. It's a great feeling. Oh. The escorts on the funeral side were very depressing. It's horrible.
I always say those line of death duty funerals are the greatest, worst experience you could ever have. It's the only way I could. It is a great experience. Yep. But it sucks.
Never went to one. I couldn't deal with it mentally because I had gotten as far as where they used to have they used to have a lot of them down in Newark and stuff like that, and I got as far as going to the front door. Never walked in.
Sacred Heart Basilica.
Yeah. Never ever walked in.
The Blue Mass every year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not my thing. But we policed in an era where we started one way and it became something else because but we're all after the Rodney King. So we knew the cameras were out there.
That was put away and gone.
Right. There was like 8 years between. Right. I think what was Rodney King? 92, something like that. And then the trial was 96. So people, as a retired police officer, people will ask me still about excessive force. Have you ever tuned anybody up? And I always bring up Rodney King because if you ever watch the whole video of Rodney King, this guy's driving 90 miles an hour through residential streets. He's big. He's 6'7". He's high as a kite on PCP, and they get him. And the cops have got adrenaline flowing. They're asking him to comply. He will not comply, so they're whacking him. Now, that being said, did they take a couple extra whacks? 100%. 100%.
Because like you said, your adrenaline's flowing.
Your adrenaline's flowing, and you just got put in a life and death situation because of this guy's carelessness. So, yes, they did take some extra whacks, but the guy still wasn't compliant.
Well, he was also under the influence on top of it.
Correct.
Help.
Which I believe it was he was on PCP.
PCP, yeah.
So it's not as far-fetched. I've heard Monday morning quarterbacks come in and say, this is bad. You should never do that to somebody until you're put into that situation. That's the part. That's the part. And then they bring up, of course, George Floyd and stuff like this. I don't even want to get into that.
You can't get into George Floyd. It's completely different.
Because that's amateur hour.
Right, yeah.
That to me. Yeah. To me.
Yeah,
but he's since passed, so I can say his name, Nicky Fresalone. I was taught by him in the academy, Nicky DeBear.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, so
he was in my Essex County.
He was a staple at the county. Yeah. So Nicky was a martial artist.
Yep.
And Nicky knew he would teach you when you do unarmed self-defense ways to give. He used to call bonus shots, and he used to do a bonus shot, bang, and he would always do that. Right. But they're shots that if somebody is being non-compliant, they will hurt. You will hurt them. You won't kill them. You won't cause any permanent damage, but they'll know you mean business, and you can do it right in front of a camera. So that's a tool that we use where we would take it out when needed. Mm-hmm. Right. So things went a little downhill for you in your career.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, I mean, we had that. Then I got married, got divorced, got remarried in 2005 to my high school. Actually, we went to high school together. Had a baby girl. It was great. She's now 17. Then we had my son in 2008. 3 months later, he passed away. So that added a lot of.
Was it a crib death or?
No, he's actually had SMA, spinal muscular atrophy. Oh. He was fine in utero. We went to a 1 month well visit. Mom had concerns, brought it to the doctor's attention. We're right in Hackensack. From Hackensack, we go to CHOP. We spent the summer there, brought him home. August of '08, he passed away. Tried again, just constant. It was just that was really just the downfall. The drinking started.
It's just the building.
It's building up.
Building up.
It's constantly building. And
it's a building up.
Before that, I'm helping taking care of my parents. My mother had a stroke. She couldn't talk or walk. My father refused to put her in a nursing home because he was old school Italian. He wasn't going to do it. So we had to deal with that. Then my father got sick. So then my son passed away. So my mother's still alive. I'm saying, why the fuck is she still alive? I love my mother, but why is she still alive and he's 3 months old and he's dead?
3-month-old dies.
She can't talk or walk. What's going on here? 2010, she passed away. So we had a little break between 2011 and 2012. It was great. We go to Disney. My father, he's here from Italy, I don't know, 40 somewhat years, 50 years. We go to Disney, sees Mickey Mouse. We're having great. I think that was the Hurricane 12.
Yeah, Sandy.
I was working plain clothes. 2013, I had to do the 1 week of uniform between Christmas and New Year's. I had 2 days left. Out of those 2 days of the year, shit hit the fan. Literally, shit hit the fan.
So, now I used to go to the bar just like you.
December 27th, to be exact.
I used to go to the bar just like you. Now I don't drink anymore. I prefer going to like a little bit calmer of a place.
Yeah.
And, we just picked up a sponsor, and it's Cubita Cafe in Nutley.
Okay.
It's 234 Franklin Avenue.
Right, exactly. Those are nice places because it's good food. It's top-level chef there. It's just a place where we can sit down and relax and calm down.
It's more of a restaurant than a bar because, you could just go sit in there and eat. And
it was just having a cup of coffee and having a nice empanada, because cops, we're knuckleheads. Sure. We try to hide all of our problems in bottles,
Oh, my God, yes.
So and losing a son, we're all parents in here. Losing a son, I think, is probably one of the worst things ever.
Yes, and prior to that 2013 incident, in 2012, I believe it was a murder-suicide. We get a call. We all shoot down there. He's retired. I'm not going to mention his name, but he comes walking out. Real quick, boyfriend sucks a bottle of vodka down, parks a car up the block, goes to the house, shoots the girlfriend, the boyfriend. The boyfriend has his kid in his arms, shoots him, shoots the sister. His 2 kids, thankfully, are alive, went downstairs to the basement, hiding under the bed, and takes his life in the furnace, in the boiler room. First cop on scene picks the baby up. We throw him in the ambulance. We shoot over to Bayonne Medical Center. Me and 2 other guys were the next of kin for this baby, shot in the head. That sucked. So that brought up all the feelings of my son.
Yeah, I was going to say, because now you put your son's face on that baby's face.
Did they offer you any debriefing?
They did. They had debriefing. Yeah, but you know how we are. We don't do that.
You don't want to.
We don't have time for that shit.
You don't want to admit any kind of.
We're fine. Yeah. We all were fine.
Absolutely.
We sit in the bar. We throw our head back, and we're having a blast.
Yeah. Yeah, you numb it, and
right.
There's lots of different ways cops do that with unhealthy behavior. Some will get their girlfriends, or some will drink it away. And
correct. Absolutely, I agree with you. Yeah.
But so this brings us to 2013 because it sounds like you're building up.
It's constant buildup. Now, mind you, I'm drinking every day. Yeah. My days off, I'm throwing it back. I'm having a party. Woo-hoo.
I think it's something with Bayonne.
Could be.
You know the saying, if it's 14-8, stay away, right?
I gotta call Smitty. So tell us about the incident that really, really went downhill.
So we're in lineup, afternoon shift, and we have to do a warrant arrest out of Somerset County. I'm the dick. Why the fuck we enforce the Somerset County's arrest? Why they come here and do it themselves? Never had any interaction with the kid whatsoever. Young kid, is a great basketball player. Awesome. Never dealt with him in my life. The other guys did. Oh, yeah, he's a fighter. Okay, fine. We go to the house. He starts a fight at the door. We push the door in. We go inside the house. There's a big fight inside the house. We end up handcuffing him. We're bringing him out. He's walking out the door. He throws his feet up in the door jamb. Go down the stairs. We're in the corner. Now we're in the corner of the building between a bar and the house.
He fell down the stairs.
No, actually, he did not. Believe it or not, he didn't fall.
Head first.
Yeah, I wish. So we pick him up from there as we're walking around down the block into the police car. I guess I snapped, lost it. He said something. I just cracked him in the head with a flashlight.
He was handcuffed when you hit him?
Yes, he was, yes.
Yeah. How bad was the injury, or was it just a knock in the head?
I think he had, I don't know how many stitches. I really don't remember right now what he got. He got stitches, though. He got a nice little knocker.
Those old D battery mag lights?
That's exactly what it was. It's
like
funny.
Three or four batteries in the thing.
Exactly, yeah, it's a big man.
You know what they were the best for? You catch two people screwing in a car. You tap them on the window, because it makes a very distinct sound when you tap that on a window and you watch them try to struggle to pull their pants up.
There is no other distinct sound than a flashlight on a car window.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So that's so after you did it, was there any type of remorse going, why the fuck did I do that?
Yeah, well, there was 5 of us there.
Yeah.
So.
Were you the only one that gave him a whack?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, there was a fight. There was other thing that took place, but yeah, I was the one that actually. And I'll tell you something. It was a hole in a wall bar. If you saw the video surveillance, looked like it was standing right here, just like this. Awesome, crystal clear.
Did not work in your favor.
Of course,
like,
when you're doing something wrong, there's always good video of it.
I'm like, what the fuck?
When you think nobody's watching, there's always somebody watching.
So like I said, there was 5 of us. Like we're kind of like this and that, and then everyone just scattered. I was placed on light duty for a year.
Well, did any one of the other 5 guys try to intervene in any way?
No.
Or say, like, what did you do?
We just hit him. We kept going, put him in the car, and then left. That was it.
It was like normal procedure.
And what was the kid's reaction?
He just kept quiet.
He took it?
He kept quiet. He didn't really say much.
He's a trooper.
Oh yeah, he was strong. Well, he was also on under the influence of alcohol, marijuana, PT, all that stuff like that.
No kidding.
That's what the lab reports came back. Yeah.
So he didn't even feel it.
Probably not.
So you were placed on light duty because did he immediately file a complaint?
Well, the parents did. Yes.
Parents did.
I think the mother. I don't remember. They came down immediately and like, okay, fine. It was the New Year's. We came back after New Year. There was a little investigation. They pulled the tape. It's like, all right, let's everyone on light duty. Everyone that you were here, you're there. Okay, fine, no problem. So all of 14, I'm sitting at the desk. No gun, no uniform, regular clothes. I'm like, all right, here we go.
You're still getting paid at this time.
Still getting paid.
Okay.
Yep.
You know, I had that punishment detail, not because of excessive force or anything, because I actually, I'll tell you why, because I said, you got to be fucking kidding me. After a murder scene, I wasn't wearing my hat, and they told me to put my hat on. I go, you got to be fucking kidding me. And then I went and put my hat on. So I was put on the desk for 9 months. Okay, and everybody would come in and say, oh, you're the highest paid dispatcher in the state. They're right, but it didn't make it any better.
No,
it was humiliating.
Yep.
Sure it is. Everyone looks at you weird.
Right.
And that's what was going on.
You become that guy.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah. Why is he on the desk? Mm-hmm.
You know, and then we had the clicks, and then no need to go down that road, but like, you know, little by little, you actually saw the detachment, the divide.
They're trying to separate themselves from you.
Absolutely. And do I blame them? No. Now, I don't blame them at all.
I'm going to say people treated, your friends treated differently at that point.
Well, you got to think. I'm sitting at the home plate. My friend line was like sitting in a baseball field. It's wide. It's huge. To where it narrowed down to nothing.
Just you and the pitcher at that point.
Then all of a sudden,
Exactly.
Then all of a sudden, you're down.
So now,
But did anybody else get charged from this incident
well,
besides you?
I'll let you know what's going on. What happens is that 14 goes by. It comes January 2015. Then you hear this little scuttlebutt going around this and who's getting interviewed. You know, so now the case is now out of state, is in federal. January 25th, I believe it was. I dropped my father off at the hospital for he used to get blood infusion. Dropped my daughter off at school. I come home. I walk back out of my house. 7 cars. I'm like, what the fuck? And I'm like, hey, whoa. I said, relax. I said, I'm here. I'm not going nowhere. The agent's really nice. I get locked up. They call my wife. They take me to Newark. Get processed.
They cuffed you and everything else?
Yeah, cuffed me, yeah.
Did they hit you in the head with a flashlight?
No.
While all this is going on, people would ask me, have you ever been offered a bribe? And I said I would never take a bribe because of the embarrassment to my family. Like this has got to be a source of somewhat embarrassment to your family. how did they take it?
In the beginning, a lot of my family stopped talking to me.
Now,
Not all. Most of them did.
Did you tell them beforehand what the crux of the investigation was?
It did, yeah. And one of them kind of turned on me really quick to judge. They're like, okay, we'll see what happens, And they were like, everyone was just acting weird, and I can understand why. Now I can understand why. Then no.
There's always a reason behind those actions. There's
which ones?
Behind any type of excessive force or some sort of police bad behavior. Let's chalk it up to that.
Sure.
There's always a reason behind it, and very few people ever ask that question. Do you ever think why the guy's drinking crazy? Do you ever think why the guy's behavior is changing? Do you ever think why he's starting to jack people up on the street?
There's issues going on behind the scenes that no one knows about.
Yeah.
And that's where, and I'm kind of glad now where mental health is getting to be more open and, and discussed.
But back then, you didn't want to seek mental health because you'd be labeled.
So I'm going to say yes and no with mental health. Okay, I'm going to say yes and no. Yes, it is. They're dumping a ton of money into it because it's a hot button right now. But very few people. Mike and I we try to stay away from this portion of it. It's being very whitewashed. Do you know how many times? I'll give you for instance. If I call this show "The Suffering of Suicide," we will be demonetized because it must be whitewashed. Everything must be whitewashed. The problem in police world, we've stayed silent for so long because we're worried about the stigma being attached to it.
Exactly.
And if I'm silent, guess what? I'm complicit.
Yep, exactly.
So in here, there has been shows where we have been demonetized where Mike and I will go, fuck it.
Fuck it. Let's keep it in.
Fuck it. Who gives a shit?
It's sending a message out. It's sending a message out that people need to hear.
Absolutely.
We don't care if we make money off it. Well, don't tell YouTube we said that.
Yeah.
But
Well,
it's things that need to be heard.
Absolutely.
That people are afraid to talk about, especially in law enforcement.
just like you were afraid to talk about what was going on inside your head. You had the death of your son, murder, suicides. You had all this shit going on. Your parents. You had all this shit going on. You're afraid to talk about it. And guess what? The end result, it costs you a lot more than sitting there and open up to somebody.
You are the end result.
I will tell you, after I got arrested and before I pled, I drank my ass off. And I'll never forget, I was going fucking crazy. 2 homes, 2 cars, a parent, an 8-year-old. Oh, what the fuck? What's going on here? What's going to happen? Holy shit, what are we going to do? I drank so much, I popped sleeping pills. I really did not want to wake up the next morning. I figured that would be the easy way of just squashing this whole thing.
I said it all the time. When I was going through my real down period, I never contemplated suicide. But I went to bed every night saying, if I don't wake up tomorrow morning, it's probably not a bad thing.
I used to drink myself to sleep. Yeah, I couldn't sleep.
Trust me, I've tried to kill myself many times. I'm not very good at it, and it's more difficult than you think.
Kevin, I'm glad that they took my weapons from me because if I would have had them, I definitely, more likely, under the drunken state, I would have probably ate 3 ounces, 4 ounces?
Because you're crying.
No problem.
You're crying yourself to sleep. Yeah. You don't know where you go. Your future is very, very chaotic and questionable.
But let me ask you now, what would that have solved?
Exactly. But you go through that point. You go through that point where you don't want to see the next morning.
But
right? You know what I'm saying? You just don't want to see the next morning. It's
so you're in an irrational mindset at that point. And we're sitting here with 3 semi-lucid people. And because he's still questionable.
2.5.
Yeah, he's like half. We're sitting here, 3 reasonable people, and what's Doc Steph always tell us? You're trying to rationalize an irrational behavior.
Correct.
So what was the final outcome of it? What was the verdict? You took a plea, you said, right?
I plead guilty, yes.
So what'd you plead to?
Conduct unbecoming of an I'm sorry.
Official misconduct.
Official misconduct under the color of law, whatever the actual title is.
That's the catch-all.
So it's my understanding that's 5-year minimum.
I was so now the proceeding, everything's going on and on and on. So I had my lawyer, and then we get all the discovery. And I'm looking at it, like if you look at it, everything looked like this, black. I'm like, what the fuck is this? He goes, that, my friend, is throwing you under the bus. Okay, fine, no problem. I accepted it. Okay, we go forward. And at first, I was looking because federal does months, not years. Anywhere between 97 to 110 months. And I'm like, that's fucking 10 years.
I'm trying to calculate.
Yeah, I'm like, that's
January, February, March.
Yeah. I'm like, that's 10 years. He goes, yeah. I said, for that? I said, I was on loan and did 10 times worse with other guys. I was like, we like shit. He goes, wow, this, I said, this happened, I got arrested in 15. I didn't get sentenced till 18.
So that's 3 years of it building on your brain.
And what'd you get sentenced to?
42 months.
And you did that in federal?
Yeah. I didn't do the full 42 months.
Is it good behavior, stuff like that?
I left after 22.
So when you...
Are they still looking for you?
No.
You step in...
I have to make light of it. Yeah. I was down in Florida. I had the fucking best tan ever.
When you step into that jail cell, being a former cop...
Well, I had to take myself there. I had to self-surrender.
You had to try...
I flew.
Like fucking Henry Hill. Now take me to jail. You flew down there. I hope you flew first class at least.
No, I didn't fly. No.
One last hurrah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you going in there
Join the Mile High Club.
with myself. You go in there as a former officer. There's got to be some trepidation.
There's a lot. When I first got there and I was looking, I'm like, what the hell's going on here? I'm like, this is insane. Like I said, mind you, leading up to this, I'm still throwing it back. I was really hoping to end it or find a way or get hit by a car or get crashed into a car, get into a car accident. So just anything. I would drive fucked up all the time. Listen, I wasn't good. I actually drove my daughter to dance school fucked up all the time. That's not normal. That's not good. That's sad. That's disgusting. And that's not a man.
But now you're looking at a 42-month rehab.
Yeah, well, it took a minute to get to that thought.
Forced rehab.
Yeah.
You know, it took a minute to get to that thought.
So I've often heard, I've never been in prison, I'd often heard you're as reformed as you're going to get the first time that door closes on you. Is there any truth to that?
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So
Talk about reality. It's like dying with your eyes wide open. Phone calls limited to 15 minutes. You got to wait a good half hour to make a phone call. Your emails, you can send one now. It's 8 o'clock. You won't get a response back for 90 minutes. You're detached from the outside world. The only thing you know is what's on TV, or if you have a radio, and that's it. And you write a letter. What's that going to take? A week or so.
Right.
So you're really detached from everything.
Right.
And you're not treated like. Listen, it was bad, and it was the good and bad spots. You know, you had good and bad to it. But I took the high road. I was like, listen, I'm going to do this. I cleaned up. I actually taught in there. I taught some construction stuff. I was doing construction on the side, before going away. I went to work every day. I kept busy, kept my nose clean, because you can get jammed up in there also if you want. There's a lot of things you can do. You can sell drugs. They have that's all legit. They have that there.
Yeah, don't you comply to your surroundings, and your surroundings aren't the most upstanding individuals in the world?
When I first walked in, I was like, I'm thinking I'm probably just going right to the hall. And they're like you should be fine here. Come to find out, I was down in Florida. There's judges, former other cops. I met a couple other ones down there. As a matter of fact, I was down there with, what's his name?
Mike?
Volpe?
Oh, the Abner Luima.
Yeah, he was there. Yeah, he was there.
Did they let him have a plunger in the cell?
He's fucking shot.
Yeah.
He's fucking shot. There's something wrong with him.
Well, is he still in? I think he's out now, right?
I think he got moved to Texas because something happened, and I think he should be out now. I have no idea.
Yeah, I think he's out now. God,
Volpe, that's
Yeah.
that was right in my father's neck of the woods over there.
Oh man, that was bad.
But yeah,
That was an egregious just misuse. But again, I'm judging again. I have to be careful with this because I am judging, looking at it through the paper's eyes, just like somebody may do with your story as well.
And a lot of them do. Yeah. I till this day, I told my husband, oh, well, are you an angry person? And I was like, I was, yeah. I don't think I am. I mean, I don't think I am. There's a lot of things. I'm like, whatever, man.
Well, did it change in prison?
Of course, you have to.
Well, your aggression, your anger.
Absolutely. You have to have patience.
Yeah.
You are told when to shit, piss, and eat.
I am not fitting into the prison world.
You're even told when to go to sleep.
Because when I got a shit, there ain't nobody telling me whether I can or not.
I hear you.
It's coming.
Because I was in an open area, so you had to wait. They do count. You ain't moving until that count clears. You got to hold in. If you got to shit your pants, you shit in your pants.
Because it's like CO, I have to go to the bathroom. You wait.
Yeah. Oh. Well, that's why they have those loose uniforms. So if you shit, it just goes.
It just rolls right out.
You got to understand. I'm finally at the point where my daughter, she was pissed when I came home. I lost probably about a good 5-6 years of her life.
Yeah.
And I was away for 2 of them.
So that first 2 years, that first taste of freedom, you get out there, you do 22 months. That first taste of freedom for you. What's the first thing you did? What food did you eat? Well, everybody remembers the food they ate.
I went to a place in Newark because I had to go to the halfway house. I had sausage and peppers.
I was going to say like chicken
parm. You got to understand, I also came out when it was COVID.
Oh wow! Yeah, is that why you got the early release?
No. They shot that all down. No.
Yeah.
No, I came out.
COVID didn't count in jails.
You probably came out going, I didn't leave the world like this. What the hell?
It's like, so that was another shell shock. I'm like, whoa, holy shit.
Yeah.
But I kept doing my thing, just keep positive. Got another job. I started, as soon as I came out, I hit the ground running. Got a job, got a car. They gave me a car. It was great. So I was working.
That's doing construction?
I started in sales. I went back to sales, construction equipment sales.
I always said that sales are the one thing everybody can get, even criminals.
Yeah. And I was doing good, but I needed to get back into the workforce. So I did all my certs, got them all back, and ended up getting another job. And I'm there 2 years, superintendent for a civil construction company, doing great.
So good for you.
What you've had all that stuff taken away, so you have a different appreciation for those things that got taken away.
Oh, we take freedom for granted. A lot of people take freedom for granted, and not just law enforcement. I'm talking about the United States. People in the United States take freedom for granted.
I'm the first one to tell you, I took freedom for granted until I went to rehab, and then I realized what freedom is.
Sure.
I truly understood what freedom was, and all this stuff that I took for granted. I did make a commitment to. Now, do I backslide sometimes? Of course I do.
Sure.
Where I start taking it for granted. I just have to think back to that one time when I got everything taken away.
And a finger up your ass.
He was gentle. He was gentle, and he was a slight man, so his hands were kind of small.
This short little thin
fingers. Yeah, it was small. I only think he went to the second knuckle, so we're all right. You go third knuckle deep. That's just rude.
That's love.
That's like you gotta watch you don't drop the bar of soap in prison either.
So you have a unique experience now if you were to speak to another police officer. And what do you think is the primary piece of advice that you give to another police officer who you may see, because you probably can see things that others can't. They're going down a road.
Absolutely.
What kind of advice do you give them?
Right out of the gate, it's okay not to be okay. It really is.
Exactly.
It's okay not to be okay. And it's funny how law enforcement and public safety goes hand in hand with construction. It's the same thing. Drugs, alcohol, divorce rate. And you see it's like, are you okay? Oh, I'm having a problem at home. Let's take a minute, relax. It's to help someone how to cope with certain things. Just having an ear and listening, having someone vent and following up with that person after that, making sure they're okay.
Just that next phone call after it.
Exactly.
We had a conversation the other day. Is everything good? Means a lot. That goes a long way.
Sure.
But there is some freeing things to construction work, because that's what I did when I first got out.
You get beat things up with hammers and stuff.
And flashlights.
Legally.
There's a difference in police world. You can't, if Mike and I are working together and we get into it, and we get in, like seriously get into it, well, there's going to be an IA. You're going to have all sorts of problems.
Right.
In construction, you go over there, you whack it out, you do whatever you got to do.
I tell you, it's not.
No.
It's changing also. I'm doing
that's a sin.
I'm doing resiliency work, so I'm working with the City of New York. I'm working with FEMA. I'm working with DEP.
Yeah.
Like you still have to have a level of professionals. You can't just go F you and F this and that. You can't be angry. You can't, you have to.
That was the freedom of it. Listen, I had rebar swung at me many times.
The laborers, they get into. But when you get into the administration level,
low level.
Yeah, you have to whoa, because you're representing
the grunt level. You could still get away with
exactly.
It was great though, because you had a problem, you hashed it out on the job, and then you went back to work, and you were fine.
Mm-hmm.
And you were fine. No, there was no pent up aggression. There was no fear of any repercussion.
I kid you, on the level that myself and others are on, there's a lot of politics. Not only with the unions, you have to deal with all the all the business agents, and they're, you know how they're like in New York.
Put the big rat out.
Exactly.
In front of your job,
That's an embarrassment. That, and then you work with all these major construction management companies, and they're all strict by the book, like ladders and safety. Like, people go to prison for failing to be safe on their work site.
Well, there's a whole different type of danger on construction sites that people don't realize.
But I would like to pass on how to cope with things.
Yeah. And what's a primary? I'm coming to you and I'm having some problems. What is the primary piece of advice, especially off of your own bad beats?
Don't be afraid to open up your mouth and say, "I need help." Just, what do you need? Just talk to me. I'll stay here. Whatever you want to do, I'll help you. I'll walk you through it. I'll take you where you want to go to. Let's not go to the bar. Let's go hang. Let's go talk.
Like I said, as alpha males, we're afraid to step up.
Of course, and that was
say you're feeling pain.
And that's a stigma. You said that was it. You, and that's why the thing nowadays is stop the stigma. You know, like, and it's difficult.
You've had an amazing journey.
Yeah. From
doing what you love to falling from grace.
And to being where you are now.
To being where you are now. Yeah. So you have to build yourself back up with fresh eyes and a brand new lifestyle. But you have suffered.
Yes.
And we're coming to the end of this thing, and we always end the show the same way. If you haven't learned from those things that you've suffered from, then it's really a wasted opportunity.
Absolutely.
So you went to prison, you lost your job, your family took a hit. What do you think your suffering has taught you?
Humble.
Yeah, it'll humble you.
Oh, yeah. Humble. Tomorrow's another day. One step at a time.
And I think that's a pretty good place to end it here. Dom, I really do appreciate you coming, opening up to us the way you did, owning it, which is super, super important.
Exactly. I mean, it's a terrible story, but you did own it. And I got the utmost respect for you, man.
You have to.
Really utmost respect.
Is there anything you want to plug? Anything you want to throw out?
Yeah, I say you have to have faith. Faith is the evidence of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen.
And why don't you give out your social media so our audience knows where to find you?
On Instagram?
Sure.
Actually, I forgot what it's.
Dom Lillo something.
It's Dom Lillo, yeah.
All right, so we'll put that on the the bottom as well.
Same as Facebook also, Dom Lillo.
I really do appreciate you coming in.
Thank you.
And
thank you for
Kev,
having me.
Also, while we're at it, we have a new prop in our studio. It's a book called Looking Within by Heather Prinzo, who is a very good, a daughter of a very good friend of mine and a family member of Dom's.
Yep.
It's all about. I mean, she teaches special ed, and she came out with this book. It's all about looking within someone and seeing what their inner being is all like, and not judging them by the outside. And like I said, you know me, I'm very involved in Special Olympics. I was just up at the Winter Games this week, and you see these athletes, and if you judge them by the outside, you know, you're going to judge a person all wrong. You judge them by what's in their heart. Yeah, I'm telling you, it's life-changing. This is an excellent book.
So we can find this on Amazon.
Amazon. Yep.
Looking Within.
By Heather Prinzo.
And that's going to do it for this episode of The Suffering Podcast, The Suffering of Excessive Force with Dom Lillo. And let's think about all the stuff that we learned. Beware of D-battery flashlights.
First and foremost.
It's okay to not be okay. Let's try to break this stigma. But most importantly, be humble. Yeah. And that's going to do it for this episode. I want to throw a big shout out to one of our newest sponsors, and that's the Oakley Kitchen at 789 Bloomfield Avenue in Nutley, New Jersey. Of course, go to popple.com, get your digital business card, put in the code TSP20 for a 20% discount. Follow us on all social media. That's Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Clapper,
OnlyFans.
Don't forget to follow Mike at Mike_Falaise. Follow me at Real Kevin Donaldson. And, of course, follow The Suffering Podcast. And we'll see you on the next episode.